Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to today's session of Roznama, the daily newspaper analysis. Now, for today's session, I've actually kept the Iran-Israel updates towards the end in a daily news in detail section, because as much as you are also fed up of the Iran-Israel war, even I am teaching you all that. Okay. All right. So the first thing for today is that ISRO has completed the second airdrop test for Gaganyaan. All right. Just a few days back, I did take this up for you all because there was an announcement that by ISRO that the first mission under Gaganyaan is scheduled. The dates to undertake it and to launch it would be released soon. All right. Now they have started undertaking certain operations which are very important parts of the Gaganyaan mission. All right. So ISRO has completed the second airdrop test. What is this airdrop test? Airdrop test is giving the astronauts that are going to go to the International Space Station aboard Gaganyaan this entire practice of dropping the crew module that is going to take these space nodes from the Earth's surface to the International Space Station on back to the Earth's surface. So mostly this drop down is undertaken in the ocean or in the sea. Why is it undertaken on the sea, in the ocean or in the sea? Simply because it provides a safe escape. All right. It is considered as a safe mechanism and less threatening to life. All right. Okay. Just very briefly about the Gaganyaan mission. The Gaganyaan mission was announced by the Prime Minister on the 75th Independence Day of India, that is in 2022. And this mission is going to be India's first manned mission to space. However, looking into the technicality and the safety of our astronauts, it was decided initially in 2022 that the entire Gaganyaan mission would be inclusive of 3 total missions. Now this has changed, and last year the government shared the updates to this mission, and now the mission is going to be inclusive of a total of 5 missions. 2 are going to be unmanned mission, 2 are going to be humanoid missions, and the last one would be the manned crewed mission to space. All right. So that is what you have to keep in mind. The next piece of news is also the same, that Gaganyaan 1 crew module splashes down in the airdrop test successfully. All right, this was conducted through the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Andhra Pradesh's Sriharikota. All right, then last year there was this piece of news, information, a scandal basically, where a justice of the Delhi High Court, Justice Yashwant Verma, his home was found with a sack full of half burnt 15 crore rupees. All right. Now, this drew major criticism and ire towards the judiciary, where the judiciary is considered to be that one single authority or that one organ of the government, which is supposed to ensure justice and fairness in the society, and are not supposed to be clouded in their opinions when undertaking decisions for any for basically the people of the country. All right. And for this, it has to be ensured that the judiciary is an independent body. Independent entailing that it is outside the influence of any member of the executive and legislature, as well as outside the influence of the general public. Okay. Now, finding a sack of 15 crores of rupees draws our attention to the fact that maybe the judiciary is not as corrupt free or is not as just as it is being portrayed. All right. So this drew attention to the fact that maybe Justice Yashwant Verma is corrupt, has taken money illegally to maybe give a false verdict for in any respective case that he was maybe hearing. After the bag of money was found, then he was transferred from the Delhi High Court to the Allahabad High Court, which again drew criticism from the Allahabad High Court, saying that you can't consider Allahabad High Court, which is supposed to be at par with the Delhi High Court, as a garbage bag, that you are sending back such judicial authorities, such judicial figures, which you feel that are corrupt, and you're posting them to the Allahabad High Court. All right. Then following which, investigation or an inquiry committee was established by the Supreme Court of India, to investigate into the corruption allegations against Justice Yashwant Verma. The allegations were upheld by the committee, and then an entire impeachment process was started in the parliament. All right. So this impeachment process against the judge of a Supreme Court or a High Court is mostly undertaken as per the provisions of Article 124 of the Constitution. There are two basic grounds: proven misbehavior and incapacity. All right. And the entire process is guided by a legislative act, which is the Judges Inquiry Act. All right. So, as per the Judges Inquiry Act of 1968, whenever an inquiry, whenever an impeachment motion is to be undertaken, it could be undertaken in either of the two houses, in the Lok Sabha or in the Rajya Sabha. So, it has to be picked up in the Lok Sabha or in the Rajya Sabha. In the Lok Sabha, it has to be backed by 100 MPs. In the Rajya Sabha, it has to be backed by 50 MPs. Then it has to be admitted by the speaker in case of the Lok Sabha and by the chairman in case of the Rajya Sabha. If they admit the motion, then a 3-member inquiry committee would be set up by the respective chairs, and this 3-member inquiry committee would be inclusive of the Chief Justice of India or a Supreme Court judge, a judge of any High Court, and a distinguished jurist. All right. Then this committee is going to further investigate the charges and allegations that have been put against this particular justice. Okay. If the charges are upheld, then the entire motion would be put to vote in the House, and it has to be passed by a special majority. If the motion has been passed by the Parliament by a special majority, the respective judge stands impeached after a final order has been issued by the President. All right. So now he has resigned, and because he has resigned, the entire impeachment process has come to an end, although the corruption case would still continue. Okay. So these are 3 different articles from different newspapers. Then coming to the next one, we did see a few days back that a ceasefire has been declared between United States of America and Iran in the present war. This entire ceasefire has been brokered by Pakistan. Pakistan is acting as the mediator in this respective war. And although a ceasefire has been declared for 2 weeks to further the negotiations between the two warring parties, Israel has, however, not stopped undertaking attacks on Lebanon. All right. And this has resulted in large number of deaths of the Lebanese people, over which the Indian government has actually shown concern. All right, that you can't undertake massive killing of civilians in any country, and India is one country which always stands for peace, and therefore we are very rigidly opposing the deaths and killings of the Lebanon people. And this statement was given by our Foreign Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar at the 9th Indian Ocean Conference, which is being hosted in Port Louis in Mauritius. All right, then the third supreme leader of Iran, that is Mojtaba Khamenei, who is the second son of the deceased Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. He has issued a written statement. All right. Mind you, this is very important that you keep in mind that since his appointment, the day he was appointed, he met with an accident in terms of a missile targeting him. Since then, he's been hospitalized and he's under treatment. So we've not had any physical communication with him, but he has been issuing written statements. All right. So this also has been a written message where he has said that Iran does not seek war, neither does Iran seek war, nor does Iran wish to be a part of war, or Iran wants his peace. But then again, this peace should not be negotiated on terms of losing Iranian sovereignty. All right. So this is what they actually have on table at this particular meeting that is supposed to take place in Pakistan. And the US has sent the Vice President of the United States of America, J.D. Vance, to undertake this entire meeting on the part of United States of America, lead the negotiations and broker peace between Iran and the United States of America. Also, J.D. Vance has issued a statement that USA is participating in the negotiations between Iran and the United States of America to broker peace between the two countries. during which Iran should not play the US, in the sense that Iran should not do anything on the war front which could further trigger the United States of America, which is very ironical because Iran and the United States of America were on the negotiating table in Egypt. Yet it was then that USA attacked Iran. All right, so the same thing is being asked for by the US Vice President as well, JD Vance. Then the next thing is that this meeting is supposed to take place in Islamabad, and they have appended the entire security in Islamabad amidst the peace talk between Iran and the United States of America. Then India is set to host the Commonwealth Games of 2030, and we recently had the Commonwealth Sports President Donald Rukare. Along with him, we also had other members like the CEO Katie Sadlier and Director of Games and Assurance Darren Hall, who had come to India to undertake inspections of the Ahmedabad and the other cities where this Commonwealth Game is supposed to take place. They have showed appreciation towards India's efforts to host these games, and they've also said that the infrastructure that Ahmedabad currently possesses can enable the Commonwealth authorities to games authorities to conduct around 16 to 17 competitive sports in this year's edition. All right. Now, this year also, 2030, sorry, is also going to mark the centenary year of the Commonwealth Games. This is the second time that India is going to host the Commonwealth Games. The first time was in 2010, which was not such a successful event. So just 5 years before the games, that is in 2025 itself, the Indian authorities, they had established a Commonwealth grouping to undertake this and to undertake all activities with respect to the Commonwealth Games. All right. So the same piece of article from the Indian Express as well, where they're now targeting to host 17 disciplines in this sport. All right. Okay. Then 11th of April marks the 200th birth anniversary of Jyotiba Phule or Mahatma Jyotiba Phule. He was a great social reformer, and he belonged to the Mali caste, which was considered as a lower caste, and naturally faced a lot of discrimination, due to which he undertook massive efforts to bring about alleviation of people belonging to lower castes who are being discriminated only on grounds of belonging to a specific caste category. All right. So he and his wife, both of them, undertook massive efforts in Maharashtra to alleviate the lower caste people. He undertook establishment of a society known as the Satyashodhak Samaj. The purpose of Satyashodhak Samaj was to bring about alleviation of people belonging to the lower caste, and along with them, that they also undertook massive steps for widow remarriage, female education, girl education, etc. Okay, so our Prime Minister, he has paid tributes to Mahatma Jyotiba Phule for everything and all the efforts that he had undertaken for alleviation of the lower classes. Okay, then bolstering deterrence through submarine dominance. This article takes into picture the recently commissioned nuclear submarine of India, that is INS Aridhaman. All right, and this is the third submarine in the Indian Navy's nuclear ballistic missile submarine category. Before that, we've also had Arighat, we've also had Arihant, and with this, the article basically says that it is enabling India to bolster deterrence. Now, what does deterrence mean? Deterrence means to bring to an end something, to do away with something. How is equipping ourselves with nuclear submarines, nuclear warships, nuclear weapons, etc., going to bolster deterrence? This simply implies that with us developing our capabilities, our neighbors who also possess nuclear weapons would be reluctant to undertake an attack against India or undertaken any war against India. All right. So this article moves forward and also draws our attention to the fact that India is one country which always believes in dialogue, diplomacy, and resolution of disputes through peaceful negotiations rather than undertaking war, and also draws attention to our nuclear policy, which is majorly based on no first use doctrine. no first use doctrine in the sense that we would never be the ones to initiate a nuclear war. We would always do so in retaliation to other countries launching a nuclear attack on us. All right. So I can go through this. This gives us a good understanding into India's nuclear deterrence. All right. Okay. Then the next article is on the implications of the Iran war and what should be the learning of from this particular war. All right. So the article begins from the first instance of globalization, which came into being specifically with the opening of the Suez Canal in 1869. So it was in 1870s that the global trade system actually got a major boost. And since then, the entire world turned into a global village. That is, they became interdependent on each other for resources. Now, that has somehow backfired if we see in the present days that whenever any war, any crisis takes place, major global powers and countries, etc., they all start suffering from the implications of these wars. As we can see in the present West Asian crisis, that oil prices in India are rising. We are facing shortages of LNG and natural gas, and also now we are anticipating that we'll also see food inflation in the country. So why has this happened? Only maybe it could be considered as a drawback of globalization, right? Could be a major setback of it. So it also moves forward saying that if India must learn from these things, also drawing, learnings from the COVID-19 pandemic, how everything came to a standstill, and further diversify its energy sources and raw material supply chains. All right, then this article, it's a sort of good philosophical article which talks on the term of constitutional morality. And through this article, the author basically tries to convey the meaning of constitutional morality and how it shouldn't be perpetually invoked for maybe for things which actually can't effectively be put into practice. All right, so I'll go through this one. It's a good one. Then the next article is again on all the implications that the war is inflicting on the global trade order, and also that how because of this war the entire Strait of Hormuz has actually become a critical choke point, and also draws global attention to the fact that we must actually not enable countries to have control over territorial waters. Now, this territorial water and the various divisions of the sea surrounding any particular region was actually for the first time outlined by UNCLOS. All right. Now, as per UNCLOS, there are 5 basic divisions of the water bodies that surround any country. So, from your coastline to 12 nautical miles lies the territorial sea. Then we have the special economic zone, we have the high seas, etc. Now, it is in this territorial waters that the country whose territorial waters they actually are has absolute ownership of that particular water body. All right. So now, because the Strait of Hormuz naturally falls in the territorial waters of Iran, it has led to high stakes for Iran actually to now control and actually to bring to a stooping halt the entire war, maybe in its favor. All right. So again, you can go through this one. It's a good article. The next article is on the implementation of the 106th Constitution Amendment Act 2023, which is actually the Nari Shakti Vandana Adhiniyam. It is through this 106th Constitution Amendment Act that the government seeks to reserve 33% of the seats in the Lok Sabha and the legislative assemblies for women. And to bring forth this and to implement this, what the government is targeting to do, the government is targeting to increase the number of Lok Sabha seats from the present 543 to 816. All right. And we did see an article just a few days back where the Prime Minister himself was asking and appealing to the members of the parliament to fully support this change that they are proposing to bring in. Also, we did see that a few days back, the budget session, which is supposed to end on the 16th of April, has been extended for 2 days till the 18th of April to undertake discussions on this particular amendment. All right. Then it moves through history that how women reservation is a compulsion, is a necessary because of the limited amount of seats that are represented by women in the houses. Okay. Then coming to news in brief, now yesterday the Artemis 2, it returned to Earth, and naturally whenever any spacecraft it returns, it always makes a splashdown on the Pacific Ocean. So it has made a splashdown in the Pacific Ocean, and all of them they've returned back safe. All right, this was America's second manned mission to space, almost 50 years after Apollo 13. All right, then we have the new president of Myanmar, that is Min Aung Hlaing, who has taken oath and has been sworn in as the president of Myanmar. He was previously the head of the Myanmar junta, and now he has resigned from the as being the military head, and now has been sworn in as the new president of Myanmar. All right. Then the Russia-Ukraine war, which has been going on since 2022 and now has entered its 4th year in February. Putin has declared a ceasefire because with Ukraine because of the Easter holidays. All right. That people can come out and about and celebrate. All right. Then this year, I just wanted to flag this for your art and culture, which is Japan's Kabuki theater. All right. Now, this particular Kabuki theater is a 400-year-old theater form in Japan, which undertakes various forms of theatric performance, drama, traditional dance, etc., and also has male characters. It has various divisions. One is Onogata, where men only play the parts of females also in whatever theater, drama, etc. that they are trying to undertake. All right, so you all can go through this, gives you a good idea of the Kabuki theater of Japan, which is nearly 400 years old, and such performances where men also play the parts of females are also very much found in India as well, through things like acts like the Kathakali performances and also the Gotipua form of theater performing arts in Odisha. All right. So that is all for today's newspaper analysis. I hope it was clear, and I'll see you all soon with the next one. Thank you.